Well, good morning and welcome to Coffee with Kevin. Well, that bird does not seem very happy that I'm out here this morning. But hey, it's early this morning. I can just barely start seeing the sun coming up in the east, and there's a lot to unpack today. Yesterday was one hell of a day for Donald Trump. It started out with telling a bunch of falsehoods and ended with one of his own resigning and condemning his actions with the war in Iraq. But we also have to talk about Mark Wayne Mullen, because you know what? On the railroad, I used to have a phrase that I told all my new engineers whenever I was training them: be disciplined or be disciplined. Okay, I think we can unpack that. There's enough there to talk about. Because when discipline breaks down, the consequences don't ask permission. Most people know Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Right now, we're living under something completely different. That's Trump's law. What can be done wrong will be done wrong. Under Donald Trump, we are watching a pattern take hold. A pattern of continuous misrepresentation, a pattern where truth is no longer fixed, it's flexible. Where the American people are told one story while decisions are made on something entirely different in a different direction. And yesterday gave us a clear example. The president publicly claimed that a living Democrat president had spoken with him supporting his actions in Iran and said they wished they had done the same. And within hours, that claim was directly contradicted. Not clarified, not reinterpreted, flatly denied. That wasn't a misunderstanding. That was an outright false statement by the President of the United States. And when statements like that are made at the highest level of government and then collapse that quickly, and when truth becomes a tool, everything built on top of it becomes unstable. And now that pattern has hit a breaking point, because yesterday, Joe Kent, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, resigned. Not a holdover, not a critic from the outside, an insider, a man appointed by Donald Trump and his administration, a man who served inside the intelligence structure under Tulsi Gabbard's leadership. And he put it in writing for everybody to see. He said the justification being presented to the American people did not match the actual threat environment. And there was no imminent threat to support the case being made in Iran and the attack on Iran. And what we can say now is the unmitigated response by the United States to invade Iran in opposition to many international laws. This isn't coming from the opposition, this is coming from inside the House, from Trump's own counterterrorism director. That undermines the credibility of Donald Trump and everyone in his administration, as well as all the Republican congressional leaders in Washington. Because when an insider breaks ranks like that, it tells you something fundamental is wrong. On the railroad, we have a term for that: in-train forces. That's what happens when too much power is used at the wrong time by the engineer and the train breaks into pieces or breaks into two parts. That's not a minor issue. That's a system failure. And when systems fail at the top, the consequences don't stay there. They move through the entire train. And now we're seeing the next step: appointments. Because when discipline disappears at the top, leadership starts selecting people who won't challenge it. That brings us to Mark Wayne Mullen. Homeland Security is not a loyalty position, it's a responsibility to the Constitution. It requires independence, judgment, the willingness to say no. So this is the moment for the Democrats in Washington. Hold the line or let things go as Donald Trump wishes. This is not business as usual. This is not an automatic confirmation. This is where you draw the line. And that line in the sand must not be crossed by any Democrat. Because if everything becomes acceptable, then nothing is accountable. Be disciplined or be disciplined.